As a child, we all long for a hero. As a society as a whole, we search for that leader that can be our hero. But as we mature and as we grow, it dawned on us that the hero is inside every one of us. And in the world's social media, we all start at zero. And slowly we search deep within ourselves to find who we are. And we have that moment of truth where we embrace that the hero that we've been searching for has been there all along. It is living deep inside of every one of us. And we start embracing that journey and we become that hero that we search for.
Good morning, everybody. I had to let the internet catch up there with me a little bit, but good morning, everybody. Welcome to episode 109 of Zero to Hero, presented by J29 Creative Group. I've got a really cool guest coming. She is an up-and-comer. We're blasting into two cities now. We're making sure that people are staying, feeling their best, looking their best, regardless of where they're at. Her name is Ruth Shrauner. She is the founder and CEO of POSHED on the Go. So let's go ahead and bring her in. Ruth, how are you this morning?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
No, thank you for coming on the show. We're very excited to hear the story. So before we get into it, what is POSHED on the Go? I know I didn't do a great job of explaining that in the beginning. So let the people know what you guys are and what you got coming up.
Yes, absolutely. So at POSHED, we have a mobile app and we serve as a marketplace for anybody to find beauty services to come to their location on demand or by appointment. So essentially kind of the Grubhub of haircuts, makeup applications, nails, manis, pedis, all of those things. We are a very young company, but that is what we are bringing to life. And that's what we do over here.
Absolutely. And just expanded into Dallas recently, right? So we started in Kansas City.
Yeah, so we did our beta test last year in Kansas City, and we are getting ready to launch in Dallas. So we've been working down there and getting ready for that launch.
Hey, listen, as a father of two kids and a wife that also has a full-time job and the chaos that goes in our house, I have been needing a haircut. I kid you not, for 2 weeks, and I was going to do it this last weekend, and then of course life gets in the way. Can't get out of the house, can't get to it. People need this. People need this. Not only working professionals, but people that are at home with the kids, people that just have crazy lives in general. I mean, this is definitely you found something that I can't believe it hasn't been started earlier. I'm sure that's something you've been told before, huh?
Yes, absolutely. When we definitely feel like that too. I mean, there's other companies out there. We approach it completely differently. You know, our underlying mission is to serve the small beauty business owner. So we want to give back to them. We want to help them elevate their career, earn more income, have more stability and sustainability in their career, because right now they're leaving in droves. So that's what drives us. And then the output is just getting to pamper people at home and make us parents and everybody's lives a little bit easier.
Absolutely. More convenient for sure. That's absolutely essential. So how did you come up with the idea? I mean, this is something that's fairly original, right? How did we get here?
Yes. Well, I won't go into the huge backstory. I think that'll reveal itself as we talk today. But 2021, we just got out of lockdown. And actually we were hosting our first business conference for women in Florida. And I was hosting and speaking. And then I'm still operating my other business. And on that Saturday, I just needed like someone to wash my hair so I could check my emails instead of blow drying and doing the whole thing. And I called the spa, no one was available. And then, 30 minutes later, I'm in an Uber going to a salon, and I wasted my 2 hours of what I could have been just relaxing, getting a blow out, searching for one, and then in an Uber going to one. And on that Uber ride there, I text my best friend. I said, I know what I'm doing. And then I ran away from it. I ran away for 6 months after researching it. And then here we are, fast forward, and we're going to bring it to life. We are bringing it to life.
I love it. I love it. Perfect. Well, I'm going to ask you to set it aside for just a second. Okay, POSHED on the Go and POSHED in general. And I'm going to ask you to tell us just in a couple sentences, who is Ruth Shrauner?
Whew. Oh man, who am I? I'm a really small town girl. I grew up in a town called Leroy, Kansas, about 500 people. and I come from very humble beginnings. And for me, I can't share this whole segment without like giving all glory to God and everything he's brought to my life. But a decade ago, I was not this woman that you see here. I was very insecure. I didn't know where my life was going. I was struggling financially, all of those things. But who am I? I'm resilient and I'm a fighter. And I was given some opportunities that really allowed me to change my life. And so I guess that's a little bit about who I am. Man, that's who am I? An elevator pitch for that. Oh.
Oh, that's great. That's great. You know what? What you just said reminded me of. Have you seen the commencement speech that Matthew McConaughey gave? I'm sure it was the University of Texas, but I can't remember exactly. I'm sure that's where it was. But he talks about who his hero is, and he says, "My hero is me in 5 years."
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, man. Like, if you really sit there and think about that, I mean, you kind of just said it, right? Who I am now is not who I was 10 years ago, right? We've grown and we've changed and we've become more resilient, right? And that's so powerful. And I would love to share that out there with everybody. Anybody that's listening is, don't idolize anybody else, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's actually huge. I think that was a big piece of my journey, was realizing that we do idolize these people who maybe have success, or they are where we want to be. And behind the scenes, we're all the same. We're all just trying to figure it out. We all wake up ugly with bad breath. And we all have moments where we're like crying into our pillow. Even those people that we still idolize to this day. And so I just try to ground myself in, we're just all doing the best that we can.
Absolutely. And there's nothing wrong with looking up to people and finding motivation in what other people do. And I don't want to mistake anybody for thinking that, right? But when it comes to who am I going to idolize, definitely look at yourself first and your future self, right? That way we're always making sure we're on a road to success, right? And progression. I love it, Ruth. I love it. Now, when you started POSHED, we had 0 social media following. We had 0 likes. We had 0 followers. We didn't even have any pages, right? So talk to us a little bit about what that journey has been like, how it's kind of helped you get the word out about POSHED and how it's progressed in the company.
Yes. Social media is a game changer for any business out there. And I will admittedly say with POSHED, it has been like a back burner item, to be completely honest with you.
Really?
Right?
Okay.
Yeah, we're a startup. We're a very, very lean team. It's like me, one other person. And so like, with that being said, when we started this, the goal was just to have a presence, to be quite frank, because there's so many other pieces of the business. So our goal was like, okay, how do we just have a simple presence as we are bringing this to life? Because we started this in 2021. And when I say that, I mean, like, we met with the developing team to develop the app and figure out the foundation of everything.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to begin building our presence with that. And so honestly, for us, for POSHED, we adopted a very simple strategy because we were not in the market yet. And the strategy was, what would our ideal client, so in this situation, we're talking about the person receiving the service at home. What would they look for if they were browsing, right? What are they on Instagram for? What are they on TikTok for? And it's not so much about what our company does. It's about, what do we offer? So the makeup look, the hair look, the on-trend nails. And so we adopted early on, okay, we're going to share nail inspo, hair inspo, and makeup inspo. We're just going to do it in a grid that's easy to follow. It takes the brain work out of it for us. We don't have to like think about that. And that was just our strategy going into it, just to begin building that presence as we figured out the rest of the company behind the scenes. And so actually, to that note, we did that for 1.5 years. And actually, social media is like the thing up there that I'm like, we've got to start putting more, we've got to like figure out our real strategy now that we're beginning to get into the market. We did the same thing for 18 months. And in December of last year, so 2023, that's when like my employee had a baby. So then it's just me. So everything kind of like put on pause. I was like, I'm just going to do what I can do. And we had one of our December posts went viral in January. And I wasn't posting in January to Instagram. because it was like kind of a back burner with everything else going on. And that's where we grew 8,000 followers because a viral post that was posted over a month before. So that was just a whole thing. Like, we sit here and do everything we're supposed to do, and the minute we stop doing it, poof, virality. So we're very thankful for that, though.
Well, it's consistency too, right? I think that's, you know, you say you put it on the back burner, but you guys actually had a pretty good strategy going right out of the gate. I mean, you had a consistent posting schedule. You knew not to overcomplicate it, keep it simple, and make sure stuff was going out, right? And I think that's a big thing. You know, I think a lot of small business owners and new business owners get really hung up on, I want it to be perfect, right? I want everything that goes out to be exactly perfect and exactly how I want it. And that's really not feasible to grow a brand at the beginning. You're going to make mistakes, right? There's going to be things that you're not going to know. There's going to be things that you wish, you know, looked better than they do when they go out, right? But as long as people are receiving that information on a consistent, regular schedule and you're staying top of mind with them, that's when those posts pop. Right. So that's beautiful. I think you undercredit yourself because you guys have a great brand. I mean, you are posting consistently. I was kind of surprised when he said he was on the back burner because you guys do a really good job with it. So
it's that perfection
keep it
thing.
up.
Like, if it was perfect, here's what it would look like. It is so far from where I want it to be. And, you know, we're actually re-strategizing our social media right now. So now as we've come more into existence and we're really starting to define kind of our company story, right? Which is the story of why we exist. And also in that, I think it's two things. One, knowing our story, but also knowing our target audience. And our target audience is 90% females. And we know how, I'm a female. I've worked with females customers for the past decade. We know what motivates them to, you know, push buy or to convert to that. And so we're getting ready to dive into a bigger strategy of really sharing our company story and our mission integrated with that other stuff, right? So both sides of our marketplace feel connected to the mission that we're bringing to life. Because we know that at the end of the day, you don't buy from a brand because their name. You buy from a brand because you feel connected to what they're doing. You believe in what they're doing. So I'm very excited about bringing that to life and showing that side. That's where I can really let the creative juices flow and like get on the level that we want to be with our followers and customers.
No, I think you hit the nail right on the head there, right? People do connect with more than a brand now. And I think that's really kind of a post-COVID kind of situation, right? I think before people kind of bought Nike for Nike, you know, I think people kind of bought Adidas for Adidas or what have you, right? But now I think people are a little bit more invested in who's behind the brand, right? What's the mission of the brand? Are they actually doing good things in the world, right? Are they being ethical, like those kind of things? So I think you've done a really good job right at the beginning of letting people know who you are, right? I think I kind of was comfortable with you before I even reached out to you to come on the show, just because I was able to find so much about who Ruth is that's already out there, right? And I think people really connect with that as well. So kudos to you, early stage. You've absolutely killed it. So Ruth, every superhero has a defining moment. What do you think yours is, not only when it comes to your life, but also your career to this point?
Yes. So a defining, I think one of the biggest, I was thinking about this morning. One of the biggest defining moments for me, I had in my other business that I have, very successful business that I built pre-POSHED. And at the time I was working with a high performance business coach. And so at this time, I basically had like almost capped out. I'd done all the things. I checked all the boxes on what I wanted to accomplish in this first business. And then fast forward, my husband and I were trying to get pregnant, and just, it's kind of a personal story, but we couldn't get pregnant naturally. And on that call with this business coach, he asked me, he said, Ruth, what happens if you never get pregnant and you can never be a mom? And I will tell you that was the most awkward, terrible Zoom call I've ever had in my life. Because for the next 45 minutes, I cried and I didn't say anything. And I was so pissed off at him. Like, how dare you ask me that? How dare you? However, he did his job, because that question changed my life. And we talk about external validation. I think we always, what is that next thing that we check off, right?
Yeah.
We tick that box. And that was a moment for me where I really thought I had stopped allowing external things to define who I am. And that was kind of a piece where it was like, oh no, I'm still clinging to these outside things. And whether that is kids or a marriage or a car or a status or a trophy or, whatever.
Yeah.
And so that was a moment where beyond that, it really made me think about, if you stripped everything away from me, and left me in a room by myself where no one knew me and I had zero things to my name, to my face, all the things were taken away. Who am I? And being okay with that human gives you a type of power and a type of confidence that I don't think I would be doing what I'm doing today had that moment not taken place. It gave me a confidence to be like, at the end of the day, we're all the same, and knowing what's in here and what drives me is the most important thing.
Wow. That's super powerful. Yeah. I mean, sometimes it is those hard questions, right? Where it's like, man, who would I be? Who am I? Right? Like that's wow. And that's part of why we asked that question right at the beginning of the show too, right? I think it is, especially for professionals or, people that are focused on this one singular thing, very specifically. I told you before the show, a lot of people, ask them that question, they talk about the business, right? It goes right back to the business, right? That this is who I am. I am this business,
Yeah.
right? And I understand the passion of that, right? And I understand, being so into it that this is all I see. But if you strip that, who then are you? Right? And it's tough, right? It's tough to think about. But man, that's what an outcome off of that. I hate to hear that story for you, but obviously you've turned that into.
We have twins now, so that's by the way, we also have twins.
You could have led with that part.
Sorry, I do have twins.
Oh my gosh, amazing.
But what a gift that they are, because even trying to bring them to life, it taught me this moment of resiliency. And
wow.
Once you're comfortable that your failures don't define you, so you allow yourself to take bigger risk, right, or put yourself out there in other ways, because I'm not hanging on this notion of like,
right.
what does someone think of me, or what if I fail, or what if I can't do it? Like, none of that actually is
the social pressures of everything. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Not that I don't have those fears, right? We all have,
right, of course.
Fears, but trust me, I am scared every day trying to bring this business to life. But there's a different type of calmness at the end of the day, where I know we're just playing this game in life.
Yeah,
Really.
whatever happens, it's all going to be okay.
Yep,
Absolutely.
yep.
Focus on the important stuff. Man, that is, wow, incredible. So you went from, gosh, this heartbreak of this reality to I know who I am now, to then being thrown into the fire with twins. Bless your
heart. Yes. Yep.
How old are they?
They will be 5 in June.
Wow.
So they were 2, I think. They were 2 when I started POSHED.
Wow.
Yeah. So
incredible. Man, I feel for all the twin parents out there. With just having 2 myself that are nearly 3 years apart, I'm like, I can't imagine if they were at the same time, double everything. So kudos to you.
I always say, like, me having 2 from the get-go is the same as someone having 1 from the get-go, right? Because I don't know any different, and that person that single baby doesn't know any different. It's those people who have 1 and then get 2 that I'm like, whoo, woo.
Oh, that's funny.
That would be rough.
That's funny. Well, Ruth, all heroes have attributes, villains have attributes, everything really in life has attributes. What do you think really are the attributes that really define what a hero is?
You ask good questions on this show.
Oh, thank you.
I love the intro. I'm going to buy myself some time.
Yeah. You repeat it if you want.
Attributes of a hero. I think all those normal things come pop in my head, like resiliency, persistency, ability not to give up, right? All of those things. But maybe like the most important thing in all of that is knowing your purpose and your mission with whatever you're doing, whether that's career, life goals, whatever. Is like, because once you establish that purpose and that mission, right, then you find the resiliency, then you find the persistence, then you find the will to push through. But if you really don't know that purpose or your mission of like what you want to do, the rest is going to come. You're going to crumble at the earliest sign of tension or pressure or failure, right? You're going to give up. Yeah, we always see the outcome of the hero, but it's really like, I guess, what makes that hero show up in the face of the fear and the danger and all that stuff. And I think it's got to come back to knowing that their mission as a hero. So clarity, maybe that's the attribute. That hero has to have the clarity that lays the groundwork.
Absolutely. Yeah. Knowing where your destination is, right? I mean, it's impossible to know, to put it in an analogy. You're not going on a road trip and just picking roads. You're picking the destination first, and then you plan your route along the way, right? So yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Knowing kind of what the end game is, what the end goal is, definitely can help you figure out how we got to get there for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Now, last question for you, Ruth. This is the one that hangs up quite a few of our guests, so I'm glad that you've liked the questions so far. But this is the one that gives people a little bit of trouble sometimes. So I'm going to ask you to toot your own horn here a little bit. If you had to pick any superhero that best relates to Ruth Shrauner, who would that be? And tell us a couple reasons why.
Okay, that is like the hardest question. And I'm like, I don't even like know the superheroes.
It could be any hero in your life. It doesn't necessarily have to be like Marvel or DC or
yes,
standard.
It definitely won't be, because I cannot think about who they are, their attributes. I'm like, what type of hero do I know? Yeah, you know what? If I have to think about this, like, maybe it would be, this is going to sound cliche, especially because my red hair, but like the Little Mermaid, and let me explain.
Okay. Yeah.
I will explain. It essentially is this girl that was born into one situation, and she decided that she wanted to have a completely different situation. And she went to the greatest lengths necessary, truly like giving up her voice to then go into this world she knew nothing about. So she was leaving her comfort and her voice, like the one thing that was her biggest strength, because she believed what was on the other side was meant for her. And maybe that is who I feel like I relate to the most, because of those attributes, being willing to risk everything. I talk about my previous business and going into Posh, but what people don't see is that I'm risking everything that I have built in my first business for this second pipe dream, if you will, because it is like, we have massive dreams over here. And so I'm giving up that comfort. I'm giving up that ease. The first business, the consistency and the stability of it, right, for a dream, because I believe what's on the other side in this other world is going to be 10 times more fulfilling for me. And so I guess I would have to say Ariel.
Wow, no, that's great. I've never really thought of Ariel in that way before. I left everything behind to chase this thing, right? And family and the voice and everything she knew. That's fantastic. And I think it relates to your entire life as a whole. If you really kind of think about what you told us at the beginning of small town to now we're entrepreneur going into 2 cities. I mean, that's absolutely fantastic. I love it, Ruth. Thank you so much for coming on the show. You have been so fun and so wonderful. How can people keep up with Posh on the Go? How can they download it? How can they follow you guys? Where can they find you at?
Yes, absolutely. So if you go to poshedonthego.com, you will see a subscribe button there. Whether you're from Texas or Kansas, you could go ahead and subscribe to our mailing list. We're getting ready to release some new newsletters to give you guys all the tips and tricks for your upcoming beauty needs as well. We also have the apps available for download there as well. And then we're on Instagram at that same Poshed on the Go. And we have TikTok as well. We're not as present over there, but we do have a TikTok there. So that's kind of,
Perfect.
I think we hit them all.
And then the LinkedIn too, so you can
Got the
find her
link.
on LinkedIn as well. They do have some good content on there as well that I've noticed, and I'm sure that TikTok is gonna keep on picking up steam as we go
Yeah,
along here, and we get some more some people out there doing some cuts and some makeup and everything in both cities. So
absolutely.
perfect. Well, hey, if you need a haircut today, I jumped on there yesterday. I know they're available. If you need some makeup done before your big networking event tonight, get on there. You don't have to schedule an appointment necessarily. If there's techs available, they can get out to you right away. So get on there, schedule that appointment. Ruth, thank you again for coming on the show. You're so fun. You're so awesome. I appreciate it. I can't wait to see what Poshed on the Go does in the future.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys having me.
Hey, are we still live? Hey guys, we're still live. Hey guys, this is Kevin Kwok, founder of J29 Creative Group. So who are we? We're a marketing agency here in Kansas City. We're all about a holistic approach to marketing that builds your brand and nurtures online community. But to be honest with you, you guys don't care.